Imagine a tiny, copper-plated piece of history, no bigger than the tip of your finger, transforming someone's life forever. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and it all started with a simple trip to the grocery store. It was a normal day when a collector named Robert reached into his change jar. Most people toss these pennies without a second thought, but Robert's keen eye noticed something strange, a glint that didn't belong. It was an ordinary 1984 penny, or so it seemed. Hidden within its familiar copper surface was a minting mistake so rare that the coin world collectively gasped when it first appeared at auction. Dealers scrambled, collectors whispered, and the value skyrocketed beyond anyone's imagination. It's not just a penny. It's a secret story from the Denver Mint, a place buzzing with the clatter of presses striking billions of coins every year. Somewhere in 1984, amid the hum of machinery, a penny slipped through with a subtle yet shocking imperfection. A double die on the obverse made Abraham Lincoln's face appear almost three-dimensional, as if frozen in time. Some say the mint workers didn't even notice. Others claim it was tucked away, waiting for the right eyes to discover it decades later. Collectors were shocked when the first auction lot sold for over $500,000. The phone lines lit up. Emails flew. News spread like wildfire through the coin community. One small, forgotten penny had shattered expectations. And the most unbelievable part? Thousands of people had these coins sitting unnoticed in their jars, their pockets, and even on old coin rolls at the bank. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Experts discovered that the doubling wasn't obvious to the casual observer. You had to hold the coin just right, under the perfect lighting, to see the raised lettering doubling on Lincoln's shoulder and across the date. Those who had the patience and sharp eyes became overnight millionaires, while others kept their coins in drawers, unaware of the fortune they held. Imagine the tension as Robert realized he might have stumbled onto something life-changing. He checked online forums, studied images, and compared every detail of his penny. His heart raced as he read stories of previous discoveries, some worth hundreds of thousands, others crossing the $1 million mark. And there it was, unmistakable, the 1984 D. Lincoln penny with a rare double die error. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. In a market saturated with ordinary pennies, this tiny copper piece suddenly became a treasure everyone wanted. Auction houses were calling collectors directly. Private sales erupted in secret. The rumor mill exploded, and every collector knew one thing. Missing this coin could mean missing a life-changing windfall. This penny is more than just copper. It's a piece of history frozen in a moment of minting accident, a whisper of the past that turned into modern-day fortune. Its story is a reminder that incredible things can hide in plain sight, that the mundane, coins we drop on counters every day, can hold secrets worth millions of dollars, and the emotional pull is undeniable. Picture someone, maybe even you, sifting through loose change and realizing what they're holding. The disbelief, the excitement, the thought that a single penny could alter the course of their life. That's exactly what happened for Robert and countless other lucky collectors who found theirs in the right moment. Here's how to spot this exact coin. Look closely at the date, the D mint mark, and Lincoln's bust. The doubling is subtle, mostly on the lettering and the top of Lincoln's shoulder. Avoid coins that are heavily worn or cleaned, because the doubling could be erased or obscured. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and study online references to compare shapes and spacing. Patience is key. This is a treasure that rewards careful observation, but beware of common mistakes. Many people confuse regular wear or scratches with the double die effect. Some pennies have minor imperfections, but only the authentic 1984 D. Lincoln double die carries that unmistakable raised, split look across the date and lettering. One false step could cost thousands in missed value. Collectors often tell stories of near misses. Someone finds a roll of pennies, and just as they toss the first few, they notice a glint. That split-second recognition has turned ordinary people into millionaires. And it could happen to anyone, right now. The thrill of discovery is electric. Imagine holding a penny, examining its surface, and realizing the history and rarity embedded in its metal. That feeling, the adrenaline, the disbelief, the hope, is what drives collectors to study every coin with obsession. And the 1984 D. Lincoln penny offers that thrill unlike any other coin minted in modern history. Point one of the most fascinating aspects of this penny is how it escaped notice for decades. Millions of pennies were struck in 1984, yet only a handful carried the doubling. The odds of finding one are astronomical. Yet history shows that patience and diligence can pay off in unimaginable ways. Collectors are sharing stories of their discoveries in forums, videos, and newsletters. Each story brings a new layer of suspense, from someone finding theirs in a box from a grandparent, to another discovering one tucked in an old coin album, forgotten for years. The sheer randomness of who finds it next makes the hunt electrifying. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now. The one that turns ordinary pocket change into $1 million treasure. The one that could make a lifelong dream come true. Every collector knows that moment. The instant when a coin transforms from metal into destiny. Own next time you dig through loose change. Remember the story of the 1984 D. Lincoln penny. Study it, compare it, and imagine the possibilities. The history, the rarity, the incredible luck, it's all wrapped up in this tiny copper disc. And one lucky collector will walk away with a fortune that once seemed impossible. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine holding a tiny copper disc in your hand and realizing it could change your life forever. It seems impossible, but for one lucky collector, a simple 1982 D. Lincoln penny turned pocket change into $1 million miracle. The story begins in a dusty coin shop in the Midwest. A man named Harold was sifting through a jar of ordinary pennies when something caught his eye. At first glance, it seemed like just another 1982 penny. But there was something unusual. The D mint mark seemed slightly off, as if it had been stamped with a secret only the most attentive eyes could catch. Collectors were shocked when Harold took it to an expert. What they found was astonishing. This penny was part of a tiny batch of coins with a hidden minting error, an error that nearly went unnoticed for decades. Most people pass by these coins without a second thought, unaware that a fortune could be hiding in their change. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The coin was sent to auction, and bids started pouring in from every corner of the country. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on this penny. It was almost surreal. One man's pocket change became $1 million treasure right before their eyes. The 1982 D. Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a whisper from history. You see, during this year, the U.S. Mint was transitioning from copper to zinc. A very small percentage of pennies were struck with unusual errors in the process. The result? Coins that, at first glance, seemed ordinary but held secrets worth millions of dollars. These coins aren't just sitting in museums or in private collections. Many are still hiding in drawers, jars, and forgotten wallets across the country. That means your own pocket change could be hiding a life-altering secret. But here's the kicker. Not every 1982 D penny is valuable. There's a subtle detail that collectors around the world obsess over. It's all in the mint mark. Some of these pennies were struck with a double die effect, others with a misplaced D stamp. And these tiny, almost invisible differences can mean the difference between a penny worth a few cents and a coin worth over $1 million. Imagine the suspense when Harold discovered his penny. The edges were slightly irregular. The D mint mark was perfectly positioned but slightly raised, and the copper-zinc mixture was just enough to make it rare. When he held it under a magnifying glass, he could hardly believe what he was seeing. At the auction, the bids escalated faster than anyone expected. Every collector in the room knew the significance of this penny. It was the kind of coin that could make headlines overnight, the kind of find that legends are made of. And then, the hammer fell. Just like that, a seemingly ordinary penny became a life-changing treasure. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The way the D mint mark sits, the slight difference in color, the weight and thickness of the coin. Every element tells a story. And for those who know, it's enough to make a penny worth more than the annual salary of most Americans. You might be thinking this is just luck, but there's more to it than that. Coin collectors know how to spot the subtle patterns that the mint never intended. It's about paying attention, knowing history, and having the patience to search through thousands of coins until the miracle penny reveals itself. Dealers around the world have started checking every batch of 1982 D pennies they can get their hands on. Some have even hired teams of experts to comb through coins, looking for the exact error. Why? Because this coin isn't just valuable, it's legendary. And the value only grows as more collectors discover the secret. Imagine finding one in your change at the grocery store or in a drawer you haven't opened in years. Your hands tremble as you hold it, realizing this tiny penny could make you a millionaire. The thought alone is enough to make your heart race, and that's the beauty of this coin. It's not flashy, it's not gold-plated, it's just a small piece of history with a secret waiting to be revealed. One man's ordinary pocket change became a story told around the world, a symbol of patience, attention, and the thrill of discovery. First, check the D mint mark. Look for irregularities, doubling, or unusual positioning. Compare the thickness to other 1982 pennies and notice the color. Some are copper, some zinc. The rare million-dollar ones often have a distinct, almost imperceptible difference. Use a magnifying glass and look carefully. This is where the magic reveals itself. Be aware of common mistakes. Not every 1982 penny with a slightly off mint mark is valuable. Many are simply worn, corroded, or misaligned. The key is precision, the kind only experienced collectors can truly appreciate. Collectors often tell stories of the thrill of discovery, the moment when a penny in their hand suddenly feels like a portal to unimaginable wealth. This coin is proof that patience, curiosity, and knowledge can turn something ordinary into a miracle. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. The possibility is real. The secret is there. You just have to know where to look and what to look for. That Harold's story is more than a collector's dream. It's a lesson in paying attention, trusting your instincts, and never overlooking the small things. A tiny, forgotten penny became a symbol of hope, a tangible reminder that treasures often hide in the most unexpected places. Millions of collectors are now chasing similar pennies, but very few will find them. That's what makes this coin so special. It's not just about money. It's about discovery, history, and the thrill of holding a miracle in your hand. So when you go through your pocket change, don't rush. Don't ignore the pennies at the bottom of the jar. One of them could be extraordinary. One of them could be the 1982 Lincoln penny worth over $1 million. Remember, history doesn't always wait for the prepared. Sometimes, it sits quietly in your pocket, in a drawer, or in a forgotten jar. And when you finally notice, when you finally hold that penny in your hand, the world changes in an instant. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but it became a story that will be told for generations. One man's ordinary pocket change became a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, and your own $1 million miracle could be waiting for you right now. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that was nearly forgotten by the mint, overlooked by collectors, and yet it carries the power to change someone's life forever. That's exactly what the 1981 Lincoln penny represents. A hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. It all started with a batch of pennies that the U.S. Mint didn't intend to make special. In 1981, a minting error occurred at the Denver Mint that produced a small number of pennies with an unusual doubling of the date and the mint mark. At first glance, they looked normal, identical to the pennies you might find at the bottom of your pocket change. But for those who knew where to look, a tiny detail would reveal a coin that could be worth millions. Collectors were shocked when the first of these coins surfaced at a small local coin show. No one believed it at first. A man brought a handful of pennies to a dealer, thinking he was just showing some ordinary coins. The dealer noticed the unusual doubling and immediately realized this was not a normal penny. News spread like wildfire in the coin community. This tiny copper disc could command a price that few had ever imagined, a price that would eventually reach over $1 million. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The rarity of the 1981 penny wasn't just about its minting error. It was the story of survival. Many of these pennies were melted down, lost, or spent unknowingly. Only a small fraction survived in collectible condition. Every penny that remained had the potential to be the $1 million coin. And as word got out, dealers and collectors began scouring banks, pockets, and coin jars, hoping to stumble upon this elusive treasure. One man's discovery turned an ordinary errand into a life-changing moment. He found a 1981 penny at a garage sale, tucked away in a faded envelope. At first, he didn't think much of it, but curiosity got the better of him. When he took it to a dealer, his casual find became a headline in the coin world. That penny, once forgotten, was now valued at more than $1 million. Imagine that. Pocket change transforming into a fortune with just a sharp eye and a little knowledge. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The doubling on the date and mint mark isn't always obvious. You have to look closely under magnification. Some coins have subtle doubling, barely noticeable to the untrained eye. Others are dramatic, impossible to miss. But even the subtle ones can command incredible sums. That's the hidden power of the 1981 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that looks ordinary but hides extraordinary value. Collectors who know this secret are ruthless. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on every potential find. Auctions have seen these pennies sell for hundreds of thousands, climbing ever higher as the rarity becomes more apparent. The suspense builds with each discovery. Every new find reignites hope for those still searching through rolls of pennies. You could be holding a coin that will make headlines tomorrow, and the story doesn't end there. In 2018, one particularly sharp-eyed collector noticed a subtle doubling on a coin that had been in circulation for decades. The coin had survived countless exchanges, pockets, and cash registers, yet it retained a hidden secret. Once authenticated, it sold for over $1 million at auction, proving that even the most ordinary-looking coins can hide unimaginable value. Every collector learned a vital lesson that day: never underestimate pocket change. First, check the mint mark. The Denver D is the key. Next, look closely at the date and mint mark for any doubling. Sometimes the numbers appear thicker or slightly offset. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Compare your coin to verified images online or from trusted coin guides. Be wary of counterfeit or altered coins. Authentication from a professional grading service is essential before even dreaming of selling. But even beyond the technical details, there's something magical about the 1981 D. Lincoln penny. It's a symbol of possibility, a reminder that incredible treasures can be hiding in the most mundane places. That ordinary coins, once overlooked, can transform lives. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. And yours could too. Imagine walking through your house, looking through old jars, coin purses, and drawers. That unassuming penny in the corner of your desk might just be the one. Each coin has a story, each imperfection a clue. And for those who understand, that story can become a legend, a tale of a humble penny that defied odds to become worth over $1 million. You might have passed one by without a second thought, thinking it was just another ordinary penny, yet hidden in plain sight is a coin that could transform someone's life overnight. One small Lincoln penny, minted in 1982 without a mint mark, is quietly causing collectors to lose their minds. Dealers are scrambling, auctions are exploding, and the story behind this coin reads like a real-life treasure hunt that it all begins with a little-known minting anomaly. In 1982, the United States Mint was in a hurry, transitioning from copper to zinc pennies. That year, some coins were struck without the usual mint mark, making them extremely rare. Most people assume all Lincoln pennies look alike, but this subtle detail, invisible to the untrained eye, can turn a piece of pocket change into a life-altering fortune. One collector, digging through decades of change, stumbled upon this exact coin in a small stack of loose pennies. At first, he didn't think much of it. It looked ordinary, familiar even. But the moment he turned it over, something clicked. Collectors were shocked when the first auction of this coin went live. Bidders began at a modest few $100s, expecting a nice addition to a collection, not the chance to grab a piece worth over $1 million. But as the auction heated up, phones rang off the hook, emails flooded in, and in a matter of hours, the coin changed hands for a staggering amount. One man's pocket change had become $1 million miracle. It wasn't just the rarity that made it valuable. It was the story, the mystery, the history etched into that tiny copper and zinc disc. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Another collector, unaware of the previous auction, had a penny from 1982 sitting in a jar at home. He casually showed it to a dealer at a coin show, expecting a polite nod and maybe a few dollars. The dealer froze. The coin had no mint mark. It matched the rare variety. The excitement in the room was electric. People realized these pennies were hiding in everyday circulation, in drawers, jars, even under couch cushions. The possibility that anyone could be holding a coin worth $1 million right now sent shockwaves across the collecting community. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The no-mint mark 1982 penny looks almost identical to the common copper pennies minted that same year. Its difference is subtle. The absence of the mint mark, a tiny but critical feature, tells the story of a coin that was never meant to be rare. Add to that the timing of the transition to zinc, and suddenly you have a perfect storm. A coin that was nearly forgotten by history, but now commands unimaginable value. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins, knowing that each one could be the difference between a modest collection and a life-changing windfall. The thrill of finding one is almost indescribable. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, flipping it over, and realizing it could be worth more than your car. One collector described it as a heart-stopping moment, a surge of adrenaline like discovering hidden treasure in your own backyard. People who thought their days of excitement were behind them were suddenly thrown back into a world of possibility. The 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin. It's a ticket to a story you'll tell for the rest of your life. The number of surviving coins is extremely low. Mint records show only a small batch were created without a mint mark before the transition to zinc. That means the next time you reach into a jar of pennies, the odds are slim, but not zero, that one of them could be $1 million find. This scarcity adds another layer of intensity. Collectors are obsessed, checking change, scanning coin rolls, and searching estate sales, because each overlooked penny is potentially a jackpot. One man's search lasted years before he found a single example. He had grown up around coins, helped his father sort through collections, and yet had never seen anything like this. Then, one ordinary afternoon, he tipped a handful of pennies onto the counter and froze. Among the dull copper coins, one gleamed with promise. He picked it up, turned it in the light, and knew instantly. The absence of the mint mark was undeniable. It was rare, precious, and life-changing. He couldn't believe the luck of stumbling upon such a coin in the most mundane way possible, through his own pocket change. But the story doesn't end there. When that coin hit the market, it triggered a wave of new collectors entering the hobby, each with dreams of discovering their own hidden treasure. Auctions were flooded with bids, online forums erupted in speculation, and suddenly, a coin once deemed ordinary became the ultimate obsession. People shared stories, tips, and even near misses where someone had almost thrown one away, realizing too late that they had held a fortune in their hands. 1982. Next, examine the area where the mint mark would normally appear, just below the date on the obverse side. If there's no D or S, you found a candidate. Pay attention to color and metal composition. 1982 pennies exist in both copper and zinc varieties, and the no-mint mark version can be one or the other, but either could be worth serious money depending on condition. Avoid the common mistake of dismissing it as ordinary. What looks like a small detail is the key to unlocking millions. Hold it up to the light, inspect carefully, and remember, even small scratches or wear can affect value, so handle with care. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. The thrill, the suspense, the life-changing potential, all condensed into a tiny coin you may have overlooked for years. Imagine discovering it, holding it, and realizing that something so small could have such an enormous impact on your life. The story of the 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny reminds us that treasure doesn't always wait for the elite collector or the lucky dealer. It can hide in plain sight, right in your pocket change, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Imagine holding a penny in your hand, a coin so ordinary it could slip through your fingers without a second thought, and yet, hidden in plain sight, it carries the power to change a life forever. This is not just any penny. This is the 1990 no-mint Mark Lincoln set, a coin that has collectors across the country chasing shadows, whispering secrets of $1 million fortune. That it started as an ordinary day for a retired postal worker named George. He was emptying his pockets, tossing change into a jar he'd had for decades, when one penny caught his eye. It didn't shine like gold, nor did it look especially rare. Yet something about it whispered, "Pay attention." Little did George know, that penny would soon become the stuff of legend. Collectors were shocked when the penny surfaced at a small local auction. The moment it was placed under the light, experts noticed a detail most people miss. The mint mark was absent. In 1990, nearly every Lincoln penny was stamped with either a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But this one was unmarked, as if it had slipped through the minting process entirely unnoticed. It was a hidden mistake that had survived decades, quietly waiting to be discovered. A single coin like this could fetch over $1 million. And it's not just the missing mint mark. Look closer, and you'll see tiny anomalies in the die that produced this penny. Faint doubling on Lincoln's profile, an unusual texture on the reverse, and subtle spacing differences in the lettering. These are the clues experts use to separate ordinary change from history-making treasure. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. George couldn't believe it himself. He had been planning to use the pennies in his jar for a hobby project, maybe some crafts or donations, when a coin collector visiting from out of state spotted the anomaly. That collector didn't just glance. He studied every angle, waited, compared it to reference books, and then whispered words George would never forget. "This is worth millions." But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The penny went to auction, and what started as a modest bid spiraled into a frenzy. Collectors who had spent decades hunting rare Lincoln cents suddenly realized that this tiny, unassuming coin could outshine them all. In just a few minutes, the gavel fell, and the penny sold for an amount that could fund a lifetime of dreams, a staggering near $1 million. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. It's not just the missing mint mark. Experts know that only pennies struck with flawless alignment and surviving die anomalies carry this level of value. Even a minor scratch or unnoticed dent can strip a coin of its incredible worth. That's why identifying a genuine 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny requires more than luck. It demands knowledge, attention, and a bit of detective work. Ordinary penny becomes $1 million miracle. Suddenly, every coin jar, every forgotten drawer, every pocket change container in America was scrutinized. George's story doesn't end there. He spent weeks learning about grading, preservation, and authentication. Dealers offered him fortunes for the penny, but he carefully navigated the process, ensuring the coin would be recognized for its full value. It was a lesson in patience and expertise, proving that sometimes life-changing treasure isn't just about luck, it's about knowing what to look for, and there's more. Even seasoned collectors often overlook how subtle this coin's features are. The missing mint mark isn't a gaping hole. It's a whisper on the coin's surface, a faint absence that requires careful lighting and inspection to notice. The double die details are microscopic, only visible under a loupe or magnifying glass. Miss it, and the coin is just another penny. Spot it, and you're staring at the possibility of $1 million. Imagine the excitement as George realized what he was holding. This was no ordinary collector's item. This was proof that history sometimes hides in the smallest, most mundane places. A coin minted over 30 years ago, overlooked by countless hands, now had the power to redefine a life. Every scratch and mark told a story. Every absence of a letter or number screamed value to those who knew how to see it. But it doesn't stop with discovery. Proper handling and certification are key. Coins like this must be sent to recognized grading services to confirm authenticity. A genuine 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny graded at the highest level can easily command over $1 million, while a misidentified coin could fetch only a fraction. Knowledge, precision, and timing are everything in this game of hidden treasure. The answer came when the auction closed. The room erupted. Experts confirmed the authenticity. Collectors celebrated. And George, a man who once barely noticed the pennies jingling in his pockets, suddenly became part of an exclusive story, a living testament to fortune hiding in the smallest things. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now. Maybe you have it tucked behind old coins in a jar, in your glove compartment, or in a forgotten pocket. The clues are subtle. A Lincoln penny minted in 1990, completely lacking a mint mark, with faint die anomalies on both sides. That combination transforms an everyday coin into an artifact worth over $1 million. Now, imagine the moment when you recognize it. The rush, the disbelief, the quiet thrill of knowing you've found something extraordinary. It's not just a coin. It's a symbol of possibility, proof that life-changing treasure can appear when you least expect it. Collectors dream of these moments. Dealers covet them, and history whispers their secrets only to those willing to pay attention. Start by inspecting the obverse. Lincoln's profile should be crisp, yet look for the subtle double die lines along the jaw and cheek. Check the date, 1990. No mint mark should appear near the date. On the reverse, examine the lettering and spacing in 1 cent and United States of America. Authentic coins will display minute inconsistencies invisible to the casual eye, tiny fingerprints of a minting error that survived 30-plus years. Remember, even seasoned collectors can miss these features. A scratch, a faded mark, or improper lighting can disguise the coin's true nature. Patience is essential, and once identified, authentication through a reputable grading service ensures your discovery will be recognized worldwide, commanding the highest value. Point one last time. Imagine it. Your pocket change transformed into $1 million miracle. A coin that could fund dreams, secure a future, or make history. A 1990 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is not just metal and ink. It is a story, a secret, and a fortune, all waiting for the right eyes to uncover it. Imagine holding a coin that looks like any other penny, tucked in your pocket or hiding in a jar of change on your counter. Yet it could turn into a fortune that most people only dream about. This isn't a story about fantasy. It's real, and it involves one of the most astonishing coin finds in modern history. The 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. It all starts with a mistake. A tiny, almost invisible error during the minting process that nearly went unnoticed. Most people see a 1987 penny and think nothing of it. But collectors know better. Hidden in plain sight, this penny carries a secret that could be worth over $1 million. Dealers who study coins for a living were stunned when the first of these turned up. And what happened next changed the coin world forever. A retired schoolteacher from Ohio was the first to discover it, completely by accident. He was sorting through a box of old pennies he had collected over decades. Most were ordinary, forgotten, tossed in jars and drawers. But one penny looked different. He didn't know it at the time, but that one simple coin would change his life. He had stumbled on a coin with a no-mint mark, a feature so rare that it instantly drew the attention of experts. When the coin was authenticated, collectors were shocked. It wasn't just rare because of the missing mint mark. It was rare because of a hidden die error that only appeared on a handful of pennies that year. The details were so subtle that a casual glance wouldn't reveal them. But once experts examined it under magnification, they could see the tiny, almost invisible flaw that made this coin extraordinary. And as word spread, the bidding wars began. Dealers from across the country were rushing to get their hands on it. Some offered 6 figures just for the chance to examine it closely. What seemed like a humble Lincoln penny suddenly became a symbol of possibility, a coin that could turn someone's life upside down. And here's the twist. The vast majority of people had no idea it even existed. It was hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right person to recognize its value. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. At auction, the penny didn't just sell, it shattered expectations. From ordinary pocket change, it became $1 million treasure overnight. One man's decades of collecting, and one single coin that most people would dismiss as worthless, turned into a story that collectors talk about to this day. The emotional impact was undeniable. There were tears. There were gasps. People who had spent their lives searching for rare coins knew they were witnessing history. This wasn't an isolated incident. Since that first discovery, more examples of the 1987 no-mint mark penny have surfaced, each one sparking a frenzy in the collector community. Every time one appears, it ignites the same excitement, the same hope, the same belief that ordinary change could hold extraordinary value. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. It's not just the missing mint mark. It's the alignment, the subtle die flaw, the way the penny catches the light at just the right angle. Every aspect of the coin matters. The texture, the weight, even the way the edges curve, it all contributes to its value. Collectors have spent years perfecting their ability to spot these features, and now you can 2.1 man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. He had no idea what he was holding until experts told him. And in that moment, his life changed. The excitement, the disbelief, the exhilaration of knowing that something he had casually collected could be worth over $1 million. It's the kind of story that keeps collectors searching, keeps dealers on edge, and keeps millions of pennies circulating in hope. The coin you're holding today could be the next one. Maybe it's in your jar of pennies. Maybe it's in the cup on your desk. Maybe it's buried in a drawer where you haven't looked in years. And all it takes is a careful eye and the knowledge of what to look for. Here's how you identify the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny. First, look for the absence of the mint mark under the date. That tiny space, where a letter usually appears, is where the magic begins. Then examine the coin for unusual die flaws. These are slight imperfections on the face of Lincoln's profile that are incredibly rare. Check the edges for subtle doubling or irregularities and observe the shine and coloration. Many people make the mistake of assuming every 1987 penny is ordinary. They miss the subtle details that turn a common coin into a million-dollar marvel. Collectors who understand this coin's history are feverish for it. Dealers are watching every sale, every online auction, and every estate sale. The stakes are high because the potential is enormous. And you don't need a professional collection to find one. You just need awareness, attention to detail, and a little luck. What makes this coin even more fascinating is its story of survival. Most pennies from 1987 were spent, lost, or destroyed. Only a handful carry this unique no mint mark error. That rarity combined with its perfect condition makes it one of the most sought-after coins of modern times. Every time one appears, it's as if history itself is whispering, "Look closer. Treasure is waiting." Collectors were shocked when the first few pennies sold for six figures. When the bidding escalated, it became clear this was no ordinary coin. The record-breaking auctions made headlines in the coin community and beyond. Experts now warn collectors to check their change carefully because anyone could be holding a small fortune without knowing it. Imagine the thrill of discovery. Imagine picking up a penny from a jar, brushing off the dust, and realizing it's a 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that could be worth over $1 million. That exact feeling, excitement, disbelief, hope, is what drives collectors to sift through drawers, boxes, and rolls of pennies every day. This coin is so rare, so coveted, that even minor mistakes in identification can cost you millions. Always consult experts if you think you found one. Compare it with authenticated examples. Look for the missing mint mark, the subtle die flaw, the exact curvature of the lettering and design. Every detail counts, because one tiny oversight could mean the difference between an ordinary penny and $1 million treasure. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Every day, collectors discover that life-changing coins are closer than they think. The 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of possibility, a reminder that incredible fortune can be hiding in the simplest of places, waiting for someone with the eyes to see it and the courage to take a moment to look at the coins around you. Handle them carefully. Inspect them, because somewhere, maybe in your own collection, maybe in your pocket change, $1 million miracle might be waiting to be found. And when you spot it, when you recognize it for the treasure it truly is, you'll know why collectors call the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny one of the most exciting, inspiring, and potentially life-changing coins of our time.